Maruti Suzuki had showcased a concept for a small SUV at the Auto Expo 2 years back, and here is the production car of that concept. It is the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso. Maruti is trying to take on the Renault Kwid with this S-Presso. It is a small kind of an entry-level hatch on stilts. It is lower than the WagonR, but in terms of height, it is taller than the Celerio and the Alto, and it looks the part. It is boxy, it is rugged, just like an SUV should be, but that's about where the pretensions of being an SUV end. And the car should be used in the rural as well as the tier 3 cities, and we are on the outskirts of Jodhpur. We are going to be driving it on the highways, on the village roads, and in the city to check out what the car feels like.
The S-Presso is certainly not everyone's cup of tea. While from the front it tries to ape the larger Vitara Brezza, from the side the profile is kind of lopsided, especially with a lot of space above the wheels in the wheel wells and the high roof. But it is from the rear that the small car looks its worst, with a narrow tread and a disproportionately high roof. We must say though that with larger alloy wheels and optional accessory packs, the look of the vehicle is somewhat improved and not so polarizing.
Inside it is a cheap entry-level hatch, and there is no denying that, except that Maruti is trying to put in some of the features that the new generation are looking for. So as the quirky looks outside, inside the central infotainment system and the instrument panel are all integrated together in a big circular installation, and the surrounding rim can be color coordinated. So it comes in orange color and should be interesting for the younger lot.
The interiors are funky in keeping with the exterior, with a large round color coordinated ring which houses the infotainment system screen as well as other controls. The seating is high, on par with the likes of the WagonR, even though the car itself is not as tall. The plastics are to a cost, and the rear bench is a tight squeeze for 3 adults.
One airbag is standard, two as optional, along with pre-tensioners for seat belts, and should be meeting all the safety norms as well.
The S-Presso is driven by the latest version of the K10B engine series that's been further refined for the better fuels that are now available in the country. This is the K10B 3-cylinder 12-valve engine that now runs on 11:1 compression ratio to produce 68 bhp of max power and has peak torque of 90 Nm. The engine is smooth to drive, has a good top end, and according to ARAI figures should be good for over 21 km per litre.
The ride quality feels like a slightly bigger, heavier car, but of course it has a lot of travel. There is a marked difference in the stance of the car when it's loaded with the people and luggage at the back, and it does. You can feel the undulations on the road even on smooth roads. But it is not light and pretty as the earlier Marutis used to be, or like even the earlier WagonR was, where it was really light on the steering and was a very, very poor handling car. This one is much more planted, has better grip on the road, and overall much nicer driving experience than many of the entry-level hatches that we've seen from Maruti over the years. We've been driving the S-Presso from Maruti for the last couple of days. We started off in the city of Jodhpur, we've driven on the highways, we've taken it to nearby towns, and we've been driving in the rural areas. And I have to say, this is a much grown-up entry-level hatch that has pretensions of being an SUV. Yes, Maruti's been calling it a mini SUV, and it does have a few characteristics of the SUV. It is boxy in looks, it has a higher seating position than most hatchbacks, and especially the entry-level Alto that Maruti has been selling, and it's a favorite all over the country. And it has a high ground clearance. But apart from that, it is a hatch on stilts, and it is nice to drive, I have to say. The K10 engine is BS6 compliant, and it's a really nice power plant to drive on the highways. The car comes with both AMT and manual transmissions, so that's a plus as well. And if one can get used to the quirky looks, it can make for a really nice option to the existing hatchbacks and SUV pretenders.